Sticking in the association, ladies and gentlemen, for Draymond Green has been reinstated by the NBA following his indefinite suspension after striking Suns forward Yusuf Nurkic on December 12th. Green returned to his podcast, The Draymond Green Show, for the first time since the suspension, and he revealed an emotional conversation he had with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver following that incident. Dre, floor is yours.
I just told him, Adam, it's too much for me. It's too much. This is too much. It's all becoming too much for me. And I'm going to retire. And Adam said, you're making a very rash decision. And I won't let you do that.
Stephen A., I'll start with you. What do you make of Draymond contemplating retirement?
Nothing. Not a thing.
Great, I'm glad we did this topic.
Moment. No. What I mean by that, Molly, is that probably in that moment, because he can be emotional at times, in the moment he might have felt at that particular second, man, I don't need this anymore. I made enough money. But I know this about Draymond. Draymond has a lot of aspirations, and Draymond counts dollars as well as the best of them. And considering the fact that he got a $100 million deal over the next 4 years, and this is the first year of that deal with about 70 to 75 million left on the table after this season, that brother wasn't walking away from that money. Don't give a damn what anybody says. Don't give a damn what he says. He wasn't walking away from that money. But I'm not saying that he was lying to Adam Silver. I'm saying that it was an emotional reaction once he learned about the suspension that was coming down and what they wanted him to deal with. And his pride probably kicked in, and we get that way at times. We're like, I ain't got time for this. I don't need to deal with this. But it disappeared in a nanosecond once that brother saw the money that he would be leaving on the table, and that was not going to happen. Draymond, this ain't the last 4 years he intends to play, Shannon. I promise you right now, Draymond looking to get even more on top of the $100 million he's due over the next 4 years. Now, whether he'll get that or not remains to be seen, but I assure you, he's not planning on making money for the next 4 years and then going into the sunset. This brother thinks about his future every day, and it's got dollar signs attached to it. So, no, I didn't take that seriously at all.
I don't know Draymond. I've seen him a couple of times, had a little conversation with him, so I don't pretend to know him that well. But this is what I will tell you. So you're willing to walk away, which I don't believe either, Stephen A. You're walking away from, you're in the first year of a $100 million deal. So you got at least 70 to $75 million remaining. So you're willing to walk away from $70 to $75 million because you still want a chin check teammate. Or you want to pretend like you flailing your arm, like you're trying to free your arm, and you're going to hit a guy upside the head. So you're going to walk away from, almost $100 million because you want to continue to behave in that manner. Who believes that? Who? Nobody. Look, I get it. You're like, well, Dre might have to be the best of you in a Jones session. You don't have to try to pretend like you're trying to free yourself because Nurkic got you hooked, and you're trying to free your arm. You don't have to do that, bro. And so instead of for you to say, you know what, I'm going to change my behavior. Nah, I'm going to quit. Who does that? You know what? Instead of, man, Draymond, come on, Dre. You too good. You had a great career. If somebody, Stephen A., if somebody would have told Draymond coming out of Michigan State, you're going to get drafted in the second round. You're going to win 4 titles. You're going to be Defensive Player of the Year. You're going to be an All-NBA player. And you're going to probably make $250 million. Would he have taken that, yes or no, Stephen A? Because that's what his career is right now.
And don't forget playing with the greatest shooter that God ever created.
Yes. So, Draymond, you've gotten everything you could have possibly hoped for. All the commissioners saying Draymond. I mean, and the Warriors, Draymond. Bro, you can't punch your teammates because you lost a roasting session. You can't roast him because, okay, maybe the media and the fans are starting to say, well, Poole now is a member of the Big Three, and maybe it's a Big Four, and Draymond is the 4, not the 3. But, bro, you can't have this kind of reaction.
Can I play?
Let me interject. Let me interject.
Go ahead.
Because hold on, Molly, because it's very important. It's you're touching on sensitive lines, Shannon, and I think that both of us need to talk about this in this respect. As a black man, when you are confronted with the consequences of your actions, it's one thing to get suspended. I don't think that's what had Draymond, and I haven't talked to him about this just so everybody knows. But I don't think it's about the suspension. When the label is therapy, you need help. And that kind of narrative is something that you believe is created about you. It can hit you in a very sensitive way. I can tell you, when you heard that narrative about him, I got uncomfortable about it. Because, let's put it out there on Front Street, we see white dudes acting up all the damn time. And we don't hear about them needing help, needing therapy.
Well, that's the easy way out.
But when it came to him,
Stephen A.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm just saying, you're thinking along those lines, and that might have been what he was reacting to. And I think that needs to be mentioned.
Okay, if he's saying he doesn't need therapy, so what should his consequences be? For jaw jacking his teammate and for knocking Nurkic upside his head. And a continuation.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
But all I'm saying, Stephen A., if this was a one-off, if the first time he had ever did anything was Jordan Poole, or take Jordan Poole out of it, if the first time he ever done something was Nurkic, given his history, that's what you do. He's what we call a repeat offender.
Yeah, but I'm not debating that. I'm not debating that with you. I'm just talking about in the moment that you are in front of the commissioner and they're telling you that it's an indefinite suspension and your return is contingent upon X, Y, and Z. I'm saying in that moment, regardless of what you're saying, which is factually correct, makes total sense. I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm saying if you're in that moment and you are in that room and you're receiving that kind of narrative from people who look differently than you, it affects you, particularly if you're a young, prideful black man that finds yourself in that kind of position. And I think that's what you take into consideration. I'm not saying it's right. Yeah. I'm saying that's what he might have been thinking at that moment, and that's why he reacted that way, even though you and I both know he wasn't going to retire.
Stephen A., can I put it to you like this? If you love something or someone, and they said, in order for this thing to continue, I'm going to need you to do this. What wouldn't you be willing to do? If you love something as much as Draymond says he loves basketball, what wouldn't you be willing to do to save it? If you're in a relationship and your partner says, you know what, baby, I love you, but we got to go sit down and we got to talk to somebody. If you love that person as much as you say you do, what wouldn't you be willing to do, Stephen A.? That's all I'm saying. So if that's not for you, hit the road, I guess.
It might have just been too much for him, all of it. Feeling like you got to change the way you play, the noise of this or that. He's playing. Yeah, and it can be overwhelming, and you might be like, hey, I want a timeout. I get where he's coming from. Let's leave it there. When we come back, John Morant hurts himself in practice and is now out for the season. He just got back. Our crew has a lot to say about this. Stick around.